evening, everybody. It is 6:15 p.m. and I'd like to call the board meeting for April the 21st, 2022 to order. May we please have the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Quintana? It's different on the agenda.
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, see, I swear. All right. Now we can do our roll call. Miss Miriam, may we please have a roll call for attendance?
Carmen Trujillo,
Here.
Jessica Bueno,
Here.
Reggie Carrillo,
Here.
Alicia Vink,
Here.
Laura Diaz.
I know last time we had a bit of an error with hearing her, so I know she was going to get on electronically, but we'll definitely make sure to make a note. But with the quorum here, we'll go ahead and move on this evening. Let's see. Next, we've got our adoption of the agenda. Dr. Gonzalez, do you have any recommendations for the agenda tonight?
There are no recommendations.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
Jessica Bueno, so moved. Alicia Vink, I'll second.
Thank you both. Any discussion? All right, may we please have a roll call vote, Miss Miriam?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
All right, with that, the motion passes and our agenda has been adopted and we can move on to awards, recognitions, and announcements with Dr. Gonzalez.
Board Member Trujillo, or Board President Trujillo, Vice President Bueno, and our board, our audience, we're very excited to have you here this evening. This evening, we have several different awards and celebrations, including our Star Award. So I'm going to ask Ms. Linda Jeffries to come up and begin our Star Award celebrations.
Good evening, President Trujillo, members of the governing board, cabinet, and members of our community. We are excited to announce our March Star Award winners this evening. The Star Awards recognize individuals, and STAR stands for Special Thanks and Recognition. So tonight we're thrilled to honor our March Star Award recipients. And our first recipient is Gladys Montgomery, Office Manager at the Phoenix #1 Eye Academy. Gladys takes on many tasks in her role and does it all with 100% effort and dedication. She has helped create a system for the Phoenix #1 Eye Academy from scratch and strives to improve it with research and collaboration. She ensures that our families feel supported, whether it be with attendance, technology support, enrollment, and the list could truly go on and on. The three words used to describe Gladys are patient, supportive, and innovative. Gladys, are you here with us this evening? Come on forward. Special congratulations to Gladys Montgomery. And I'm going to ask the governing board to come forward and we'll take a couple of pictures. There we go. Perfect. Okay, put it right here. I'm going to take a couple pictures, 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to take one more, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Thank you. Congratulations. Our next Star Award recipient is Alni Torres Blanco, third grade teacher at the Phoenix #1 I Academy. Alni has gone above and beyond at the I Academy from day one. She has invested new ways to learn more about Canvas and adapt lessons to ensure students are engaged and successful. Ms. Torres has built a strong and safe community in her classroom, and you would never know they've only met online. She's not afraid to ask questions and try new things if it means it is in the best interest of her class. She brings a positive attitude to the campus that makes collaboration easy and beneficial. The 3 words used to describe Alni are positive, inventive, and diligent. Congratulations. And one more, 1, 2, 3. Perfect, congratulations. And then our next recipients come from Whittier School. And our first group is, it's a duo. And I'm pleased to announce that Reina Corona and Guadalupe Torres Chavez, crossing guards at Whittier. So Reina and Guadalupe are a dynamic duo at Whittier. They are always together and their kindness comes through to all. They are both patient and understanding toward our students and staff. Every day tasks are asked of them and without fail, they complete everything with grace and a smile on their faces. Some of the words used to describe Reina and Guadalupe are helpful, kind, and safety focused. Congratulations, are Reina and Guadalupe here. Come forward. You could just get a little closer together. There we go. Perfect. Looking right here. One more, 1, 2, 3. You're welcome. Congratulations. And our final recipient tonight is Valentin Hernandez, reading interventionist at Whittier School. Valentin exudes positivity and kindness to all every day. Val is always willing to lend a helping hand. She has a gift as she always seems to know everything that is happening on campus and provides amazing problem-solving strategies to ensure all of our students and staff are supported. The 3 words used to describe Val are positive, kind, and helpful. Congratulations. Is Valentin here? Thank you. Right here, 1, 2, 3, and one more, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, congratulations. And that concludes our Star Award winners.
And now, Madam President, we have some other awards and recognitions for each of our board members.
On Friday, April 8th, students at the Garfield Gardens were treated to a visit by Desert Art Lab's Nopal Cart, also known as the Eco Mobile Cart. Students had the chance to engage in more learning about their environment and the indigenous food sources that are both nutritious and delicious. Students learned about the benefits of nopales and even got to take some home along with seed bombs to plant. The school is already planning nopales recipes to incorporate into the classroom. I also want to extend a special thank you to Paige and Katie of the Mullen Foundation, and especially to Principal Bernal for just being really open to this partnership with Desert Art Lab and allowing our students to understand more about their history, the history of this land. As you can see in those pictures, April and Matt We're both wearing blue jumpsuits, are the founders of Desert Art Lab. They've been doing this for over a decade and have really been leaders in Arizona in terms of fighting, being activists, artists that are engaging the community to learn more about environmental justice initiatives. So again, just thank you to the Garfield community for hosting them and the students. They had nothing but positive reviews of the students, how well behaved they were, everything like that. And thank you to everyone else who attended.
The district held its third business partner luncheon on Wednesday, April 13th, with 30 guests in attendance. Topics of discussion included the state education budget, the upcoming bond election, the 150th anniversary celebration, our recent student art exhibit, and the superintendent's retirement and search, and the opening of the Phoenix #1 Family Center. Our partners were very complimentary of the district, and we appreciate their continued support and sponsorships of our programs.
Phoenix #1 takes social and emotional well-being seriously and started a district-wide program to help students and staff manage their emotions. Our social worker group is designing a training for a district-wide strategy of emotional regulation to share later this month. Using the steps to calm body and mind process, participants will learn how to use the following strategies: pause, breathe, think about how we feel, be the boss of our brain and body. So please be on the lookout for this important training.
Author Elizabeth Howell recently visited Lowell School and donated several copies of her book, Chi Chi the Rescue Dog, to the library and some deserving students. Lowell School's media clerk, Mr. Ross, and Miss Howell first met when Chi Chi used to make regular visits to the school for students to read to her. We appreciate the donation and continued support of Miss Howell, encouraging all students to love reading.
Diane Salazar, principal at Faith North Early Childhood Learning Center, and the Faith North PBIS team have taken the positive behavioral interventions and supports program to new heights with implementing the PBIS program in preschool. Tonight, we are pleased to have Ms. Salazar and the Faith North team here to present the PBIS preschool model and to share a new video the team created that spotlights the program in action. Ms. Salazar?
Thank you, governing board members, cabinet and community members. I appreciate the time to come and talk to you about our PBIS program. PBIS is a process for creating safer and more effective schools. It is a systems-based approach to enhancing the capacity of schools to educate all children by developing research-based, school-wide, and classroom behavior support systems. This process focuses on improving a school's ability to teach and support positive behavior for all students. Rather than a prescribed program, PBIS provides systems for schools to design, implement, and evaluate effective school-wide classroom, non-classroom, and student-specific plans. PBIS includes school-wide procedures and processes intended for all students and all staff in all settings. PBIS is not a program or a curriculum. It's a team-based process for systemic problem solving, planning, and evaluation. It is an approach to creating a safe and productive learning environment where teachers can teach and students can learn. At Faith North, we identified 2 behavioral expectations: to be kind and to be safe. For each area of the schools, the expectations for behaviors are intentionally taught and reinforced. When a teacher or staff member observes a child demonstrating these behaviors, they are verbally reinforced. PBIS is not typically implemented at the preschool level. The Faith North leadership team saw an opportunity to implement PBIS school-wide to support student behavior in a positive and constructive manner. We started the implementation process in the 1920 school year with full implementation during this school year. As with any school-wide program implementation, support is essential. This video was created to demonstrate how teachers implement the individual and class reinforcements. This video can be used for ongoing professional development as well as for new teacher induction. The video can also support other preschools as they embark on their PBIS journey. I want to give a special shout out. They couldn't make it here, to my team members, Mara Carasquillo, our Faith North PBIS facilitator and special education preschool teacher, Angela Eddington, our special education preschool teacher, Seth Alshire, coordinator of student success, and Crystal Famania, our technology integration specialist, for their outstanding classroom practices, leadership, and videography skills. So we'll go ahead and play it. Can I do that? Okay, good. Okay, good.
It's a wonderful way to be kind. What happens if you have a glue stick and your friend doesn't have one? What could we do? What would be kind? We could let them use it. We can share it. We can take turns. That's a fair way to play and to share. I love it. Yes, Hope. Safe in the classroom. What are ways we could be safe in the classroom? Who knows? Emery says we can walk in the classroom. That's safe. You can hold hands and walk. Okay. Jacob. That is okay, because you know what, Jacob? We will be getting one at the end of the day. That's perfect. All right. Those are wonderful examples of how we can be kind and safe in the classrooms. All right, Julian. Teacher Shell, do you mind working with Julian? Thank you so much. I like how you're focusing on what you're supposed to be doing. You're circling the M's that you're finding. Very good. Josiah, you're being a very hard worker writing your name. I like how you start at the top, down. Very good. Wonderful. That was a really good strategy, Josiah, to look at the back for your name tag, to use it as a model to write your name. That's wonderful, to see which letter comes next. That was a really good idea. Josiah, you can go put a B in the hive for that. That was being a hard worker. I'm really proud of you. Thank you. M's and the lowercase m's in here, and we're going to circle them right here. I like how you're working together to solve the problem. That was very kind to help your friend, Josiah. How are you ladies doing over here at the yellow table? You were helping Zelda? That is so kind. What were you doing to help her? You were showing her how to write the M? That was wonderful, Hope. Can you go put a B in the hive? That was. Are you asking if he's okay? That is so kind that you're concerned about your friends. Are you okay, Alex? You look frustrated. That's a great strategy. You can take a belly breathe to calm yourself down. That's a really good suggestion. Emery, go put a B in the hive. That was awesome. Wait, very good suggestion.
All right, my sweeties. Are you ready? Let's see. Hands on your head. Hands up in the air. Raise the roof. Come on, Jude. Raise the roof. Raise the roof. Raise the roof. Oh, raise it. Raise it. Raise it. Bring it down. 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 And clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and put them on your lap. All right, guys. Are we ready for our goodbye song? Before I go into our happy and sad face, I owe you guys how many circles? 2? What did you guys do that you guys deserve 2 circles? Why am I giving you guys 2 circles today? You guys were safe on the wall. So you guys were being safe. So I get to circle in 2 circles. So there goes the bumblebee. And there. And how many more circles do we get for our popsicle party? Let's help me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 more circles. How? Is everybody back? Is everybody in green? Happy face? Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So now let me do our happy faces. Oh gosh. I'm going to move this up here, but don't touch her. You're not touching treasure box yet. All right, so since everybody's in happy face, I have to give everybody a happy, it's a phone call, yeah. Teacher Money can get that while I do this. Wait, let's see, am I gonna have to give everybody a happy face? So can you guys help me? Anais gets what? A happy face. Dominic gets a happy face. What does Janelle get? She's not here. She gets an A for absent. She is absent. How about Jude? A happy face. Guys, so from what it looks like, nobody has straight faces on that week. So everybody gets treasure box. Woo! All right, I'm gonna give Jude his treasure box first because Jude has to go. They came to pick him up. So Jude, I have some things in here I'm gonna let you pick from. Okay, wait, it's what you remember. If you don't get it, if you don't get your choice now, I have more of these.
Madam President, that concludes our awards and celebrations this evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gonzalez. What a delight. I immediately want to just jump right in and listen to what all the teachers say to do. That was really great. Thank you very much, Ms. Salazar. Moving on, we are going to adjourn to a public hearing. Do we have a motion to adjourn to our public hearing this evening?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Reggie Carrillo, second.
Thank you. Ms. Mira, may we please have a roll call vote?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. With that, the motion passes and we will adjourn to our public hearing at 6:37 PM. At this time, we're going into a public hearing for our Title VI Indian Education Grant. Do we have, let's see. Sorry, do we have a motion to approve or receive and discuss public input on the Title VI grant application for American Indian and Native American students?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Alicia Vink, I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Mary, may we please have a roll call vote?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. With that, the motion passes. And at this time, if there's any members of the public here to provide input on this item, please come up to the podium. No one's present. I know our parent committee has already met as of April the 12th. We just needed to make this space here for the public hearing. So hearing nobody come up front, we'll go ahead and give it just this one more minute so we have a full break. At least a full 2 minutes. And Dr. Gonzalez, when we come back from an executive session, we always just resume at a certain time. Do we need to vote to resume?
You may go ahead and resume.
Perfect. It's 6:39 and we will resume to our regular session. Moving on to our superintendent's report. So back to you, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Board President. Mr. Quintana is going to share with us the latest COVID report. So, Mr. Quintana.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Good evening, governing board members, fellow district colleagues and community. Wanted to give you a couple of quick reports from the county health system. And if you can go to the first one. The first one is a report that shows the community level for the entire district. And it shows that basic community level within the district of the Phoenix Elementary is low compared to medium or high, which obviously is, is good news. And if you look at the chart here, with the focus on the very last line, each line represents a week. And the last line is the most recent week that they have reported. And it shows that the number of cases for the district are 20.82, and also the percent positivity is 4.29, which is also a trend, in a positive trend, that the actual cases per 100,000 is lower than the previous week, and also the positivity rate is lower than the previous week. So overall, from previous weeks, they're trending down and in a positive way, every week. The next report is more specific to each of the zip codes that our schools are at, and this shows the number of cases per 100,000. And the difference between the two boxes basically is the first one is the latest week was 418, and the second box at the bottom is from 404, the week prior, 2 weeks prior. It also shows that by indication of the green asterisks, that most of the per case per 100,000 are lower than the previous the reporting. And with the exception of 85015, that did go up on a per case per 100,000, but the rest of the zip codes went down. The percent positivity, it's only reflecting one percentage based on zip code 85009, and that was an increase from the previous week, the previous reporting period of 4.49. And for some reason, we're not quite sure why, but on the percent positivity, the Maricopa County reporting does not report the actual percentages, with the exception of the ones that are up there. And so when it says the INA, basically indicates that for some reason they're not reporting that information, on a regular basis. But overall, the trends are on a per 100,000 cases is trending better. So that is it for that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Quintana. Let's all continue to remain vigilant in keeping our community safe so that we continue to see the decline in cases in our areas. Very quickly, I have another update that I would like to share as part of the superintendent's report. Speaking of celebrations and recognizing the good work that's happening in our communities, we recognize that the foundation of great things to come for our students and our families begins with Phoenix #1. As an elementary district, our partnership with our sister high school district is critical to ensuring continued connections for students and their families as they progress through high school and beyond into challenging career and college opportunities. Thanks to Vice President Bueno for sharing a recent celebration of one of our alumna, Amira Olivas, a former Kenilworth student. Amira Olivas is a junior at Phoenix Coding Academy in the Phoenix Union High School District. She is the co-captain of the Phoenix Robotics Team 6833 PCA Central High School. She recently competed in the first robotics competition where her team made it to the quarterfinals, and she made it to the final round of the first robotics competition Dean's List Award. She's traveling tomorrow to Houston, Texas, where they will announce the winners of this competition. Amira says, "The skills I learned in the PRC Leadership Academy helped me with the knowledge and confidence I need to be in this position. I've applied these skills across the board and in my school career life." Amira is a graduate of Kenilworth Elementary School, where she participated in the robotics program and competed in the first Lego robotics competition. She was also a member of the Kenilworth Etiquette Club. Amira is currently a member of National Honor Society and captain of the Central High School chess team. Congratulations to Amira and her family and to all the teachers and leaders who have helped Amira find her passion for leadership and scholarship. We look forward to seeing what this amazing young woman is going to do next. President Trujillo, that concludes the superintendent report.
Any comments, Ms. Bueno?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to again recognize Amira Olivas. She's actually in Houston right now, probably watching us live for her recognition. So we wish you the best of luck and look forward to your Dean's Award, bringing it back to Phoenix. So thank you.
Thank you both for that exciting update regarding one of our students. Moving on, we will go to section D, Community Communications. Ms. Miriam, do we have any this evening?
No, no communications today.
Okay. All right, we will move right on to approval of our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve our consent agenda as presented?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Reggie Carrillo, I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, may we please have a roll call vote to approve our consent agenda, Ms. Miriam?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Ving,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you very much. With that, the motion passes and our consent agenda is approved. Let's see, moving on. It looks like Mr. Quintana's up.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The first item is related to the performance pay proposition, Prop 301 plan that we'll present this evening and also requesting the approval of the board. Mr. Dirk Ernst is going to present, Olmsted is going to present. Also with the assistance of Susan Engel, I believe is in the audience. Yeah, yes, and also Ms. Erin Fredericks will be online if she's not on already, but anyway, Mr. Olmsted, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Quintana. Good evening, board. How we doing? Cabinet, community, our staff that's watching right now. I'm pleased to represent our 301 committee. A few of us have been on there for 3 or 4 years now. We've been trying to work with the staff. So let's get going here. So this was a committee. We tried to make sure that we had a diverse voice here between teachers and administration, people that have been at Phoenix L for a number of years, and then newer staff members as well. So we identified some key issues to address using the fund from the Classroom Site Fund. Our first one we looked at was the base salary expansion. And we considered the positions that were previously not eligible for Prop 301 after the legislative changes in 2021. Our second thing, we wanted to create new pay for a performance system. So with the end of the REAL grant, we're now in control of our performance-based compensation system rather than having McKESA control that. Our third one was softening the impact of the end of TIF 4 funding. And we wanted to create compensation that supported those staff members that were the most negatively impacted by the end of TIF 4. So our committee met 6 times, and then we presented it to the staff on April 1st. So we had the 4 components. The first one was the base salary supplement. Second one was our retention stipends with longevity, and we did want to make sure that we honored those staff members that have been loyal to Phoenix number 1. Component 3, the individual performance-based compensation for effectiveness for 2022-23. And then component 4, this was a new one that we talked about. It's school-based performance-based compensation based on the letter grades from the state for A through F from the 22-23 school year. So we'll go over the first one, base salary supplement. So this is a $1,500 that supplements the base salaries included in the certified stepless salary schedule, the resource specialist stepless salary schedule, a lot of S's, the social worker salary schedule, the nurse, LPN, speech and language, OT, PT, the psychologist, and then other positions that are the student support services, family engagement specialist, nurse assistant, certified occupational therapist assistant, parent liaison, and then school garden manager and specialist. And so these will be received in equal distributions throughout 22 and 23 school years. The second one is the retention stipends with the longevity. So we are focused on retaining our effective and highly effective educators based on the effectiveness from 2020 to 2021. So as we have our evaluations, you're ranked highly effective, effective, developing, or needs improvement. So we wanted to base this on the merits, but also by tenure. So you'll see we have 3 columns here. One, if you go across the top, hired as a teacher in the 17-18 school year or before, and maintain that continuous service, which means they were here the entire time. They didn't leave and go away and then come back. And then the last column, which I fit into, hired or rehired as a teacher in the 2018-19 school year or after. So if you rank highly effective and you were here longer than, it's basically 4 years, then you would get the 6,500. If you're highly effective and you're 4 years or under, you have 3,500. We did have some teachers that talked to us about this, and they were wondering why that was such a big amount of difference. But if we had the traditional step salary system, the people that were here longer would have moved down each year. So they would be down at the more bottom of the salary schedule as opposed to someone new was at the top. So we wanted to honor those staff members that have been here longer, that were still highly effective or developing. So that's why there's a difference in pay. And then you'll see for effective 6,000 versus 3,000. Developing, we still wanted to make sure we weren't discouraging people just because they weren't highly effective or effective. We know developing with support can become effective and become highly effective. So we wanted to make sure that we had that as well. These will be received in equal distributions throughout the 22-23 school year, except for those who were new in 21-22 because they haven't received their rating yet of highly effective. So that's why that's going to wait. All right, next slide. So this is the individual performance-based compensation for effectiveness. So it rewards the individual effectiveness ratings for performance during the 22-23 school year. So once again, you have highly effective, effective, and developing. So you can see highly effective 1,500, effective 1,250, and developing 500. Educators who are determined to be ineffective are not eligible for this compensation. This compensation is received as a lump sum in fall of 2023, once effectiveness levels are fully determined. And as a reminder, in fall of 2022, educators will receive PBC from the previous year, 2021 and 2022, at the rate of 1,660 for highly effective, 1,320 for effective. Compensation's already been approved as part of the 2021-22 pay for performance plan that we did last year. So that's already included in there. Now, this was the one that I liked, the school-based performance compensation for the letter grade. So this is going toward the entire school, which is what we're going at as a district, is we want all of our schools to get into that A, B, and C range. So you'll see we have, once again, on the top right in the purple, you have highly effective, and then you have effective and developing. Now, if you're in A school, we know how hard it is to stay in A school. So if you're in A, or you improve a full letter grade. So like, let's say you went from a C to a B, you would be at the top. because we want everyone moving that letter grade up. So if you have an A or you improve one full grade, highly effective is 300 this year, 250 for effective and developing. Now, this is going to go up in future years. So we're just starting with this to get everyone used to it so that we can start thinking as that we concept instead of just my classroom, it's our school. That's the purpose of this. Now, if you're a B school, just B, then you're at 250 and 200. If you maintained your letter grade, you improved, but you still stayed. So let's say you went from, let's say, a C minus to a C plus, the state still sees you as a C. So if you stayed the same, you didn't go backwards, you're still getting something, 100 or 75, depending on your rating. If you had no improvement as a school, you got no money. Or if you went backwards, because that is obviously something we are not interested in. We want to move forwards and we want to do better each year. And these monies will be received in a lump sum in fall of 2023. And if I'm going too fast, let me know, and we'll do questions at the end, okay? All right, so to summarize these important changes in this plan, we are expanding the base salary supplement to include psychologists. Our retention stipends are now based on effectiveness and longevity in Phoenix #1. The new amounts of compensation for the individual effectiveness categories include compensation for educators receiving a developing, and I talked about that. We want to inspire them to move up to effective with support. School-based performance-based compensation based on the A through F school letter grade. This new evaluation system and instruments are for 2022 through the 2023 school year and beyond. The PBC from effectiveness in 2022-23 can now be received for educators who do not return to the district in the 23-24. So in the past, if you made your mark this year, but you were leaving the district, you didn't get this. Now we're doing, if you did the work this year, you get the money. Even if you're leaving, you did the work to help us get those letter grades. And then the last one, compensation for participating in the TIF4 grant is no longer a part of the distribution of the class site fund. We had some reserves in the M&O budget. We're going to use it to pay a one-time supplement of 25% of your total TIF4 compensation for the 2022-23 school year. So let's say you were getting $10,000 from TIF4, you're going to get 25% of that $10,000 as a one-time payment. All right. Costs and sustainability, because we're always looking for the future, right? We're trying to make sure that this is going to last over time. So you can see we have the 21-22 carry forward. That's what we're bringing in with us that we had. Then we have the revenue from 22 and 23. So that 22-23 total is around 6.8 million. Out of that, we're going to take 824,000 for the base supplement. We're going to take 18,000 for the psychologists, because remember, we don't have a lot of psychologists in the district. We're going to take 612 for the 22-23 PBC. So that's next year's. Next year's retention stipends, 2.2 million. So our 22-23 carry forward, roughly 3.1 million. Then we're going to have some revenue coming in as well. So the 22-23 revenue, we expect to have around 2.4 million coming in. So that means for the 23-24 school year. So that's in 2 years we're planning for. We're hoping to have around 5.5 million on that. So we can sustain this. You can look at this writing on the side. So based on these historic revenue trends, we're planning that this can be sustained for 3 more years. For the next year, 22-23, the 23-24, and then 24-25. So we're looking forward of how we can keep this going, still support our staff, but still be fiscally responsible for the district. It is recommended to decrease the retention stipends in 2 years, 23-24, and then 24-25. But we're going to increase the school-based, performance-based compensation. That is our rating from the state A through F. So as it goes, so right now it's pictured at like 90-10. So the next year it might be more like 70-30. And then by the third year, we're hoping it's going to be more 50-50. So you're going to have your individual performance-based, but it's also school-based so that we can raise our school scores and we can compensate those schools that are working hard. We can compensate them. This plan as is, without any, changes from the state or anything, will run a deficit in the 25-26 school year. So either we're going to need more revenue or we need to reduce our expenses in order to maintain that. But of course, we're going to be working on this every year, making sure, looking ahead, trying to plan that out. All right, so to approve this, we sent it to our educators on April 1st, which April Fool's Day, okay, that was a great date, but we sent it along with a video of a presentation that we did. And members of the committee, we actually filmed parts of that. So it wasn't just Dr. Diaz talking. It was the committee because it was a committee that decided this. The ballot for approval opened on the Monday, April 4th, closed on the next Monday, April 11th. Committee members, we are available for office hours through Zoom on Monday and Tuesday. And we had almost, I'd say about maybe 10 to 12 people that asked us questions. They wanted clarification. They gave us their opinion. And then they voted. And 88% of the respondents approved the plan as presented.
How many people responded?
I believe 120. I think around, it was a little over 100.
How many eligible people were there?
For
How many-
teachers?
How many people could participate in the survey?
Yeah, overall, it's over 400, and the ones who responded were 110, and out of those, the 88% approved it.
88% of 25%
Of the 25%.
of our staff. Okay.
Yes. Okay, now that's the end of my presentation. What questions do you have? And we can go back to whatever slide, if you want to go back to a specific slide.
Can we go back to the performance-based pay, school
Okay,
performance-based pay? Please.
okay, I got it. Is that the one you wanted, Mr. Kriya?
No, the school one. That one.
Okay,
Okay. Can we go to the explanation to where it says, the decrease of retention stipends? Yeah. So what we're saying from the survey is that teachers, those teachers that are involved approved of this plan.
Mhm.
That's what,
yes,
my issue, my concern is just promoting a culture where we're maybe having schools pit against each other based on what their approval rating is by the state. And I feel like that feeds into that kind of system or that model. So that is my worry, that we're awarding schools that it's not just about working harder, but it's about what schools have more resources at their disposal. And what schools don't, not by any fault of their own. And so my thing, what is the sensibility of what is the sensibility of decreasing retention stipends while increasing school-based, performance-based pay?
So I might not have been clear. I apologize. So one thing that we really tried as a committee was to get that growth, which is what you're talking about, so that it's equal. So you're only basically competing against yourself because every school has a chance to improve a full letter grade, whether you're an F school, whether you're a B school. The only one that can't improve a full letter grade is an A school. So if you are an A and you stay an A, then you get the full amount. And if you're an F, but you go up to a D, you went up a full letter grade, you still get the full amount. So it does account for individual schools being able to improve, because we had the same concern that you had, Mr. Creel, that we were going to have the have and have nots. So this was the growth way that we thought would solve that, because everybody gets a chance to improve.
Because they're getting the performance-based pay on their evaluations plus on what the school gets, right?
Well, for this, yes.
Okay, so that's my concern, because I feel like it's burning them on two things that are maybe not in their control. Our model, I just don't agree with. The other thing is if we're planning on running a deficit in the 25-26 school year,
I think you're right. Yep.
then why are we implementing this model if we know if we're gonna run a deficit for that, if we're predicting to run into a deficit for that 25-26 school year?
Well, that's assuming. So if we go to this one, if we really try to go conservative with the revenue that's going to be coming in, because with so many moving parts at the legislature, this was a conservative estimate on what our revenue would be. So you can see at the top, we had the 22-23 revenue of 3 million. But you'll notice that for 23-24, we went from 3 million down to 2.4 million. So we wanted to make sure that we were conservative with that so that we can have this as a positive thing for 3 years. And like I said, we'll keep looking at it annually for our 301 committee, because we don't want a deficit. We want to keep this going based on the 301 money.
Okay. And what are we making those projections based off of in terms of how that revenue is going to accumulate until the 25-26 school year?
I think Dr. Quintana, can you address that?
Yeah, I can try to address that, Mr. Carrillo. So it's based on historical revenues that are coming in from taxes. And like Mr. Olson said, we typically get more revenue than we're projecting here, but we're trying to be conservative in case we don't. But it's really based on historical number of taxes that are collected for the 301, Proposition 301.
Property taxes?
I'm sorry, what?
Property taxes?
No, the Proposition 301 was from, I believe, tobacco taxes. Go ahead.
Okay. Is anyone else able to explain that? Where the Prop 301 funds come from?
Prop 301 funds are legislatively mandated through revenue generated from sales tax.
Sales tax. Okay, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. All right. So this is based on sales tax revenue projections, and I'm gonna pause, but okay.
All right, thanks, sir.
Well, that was part of my question is where is this stream of revenue coming? Is this the M&O override, or I guess the answer was the Prop 301?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Quintana, the override would be on top of this, right?
Yeah, it's totally separate, yes.
Yes.
That's totally separate funding.
So my question would be, thank you very much, Dirk, for explaining this so clearly I can pay attention and follow along. So when we say the plan as is, we'll run a deficit potentially because we don't want to overestimate the funds coming in. Are there is there a plan to find revenue elsewhere to kind of supplement this? Or is this just kind of telling us this is how that works? And then that's it. I just was wondering if there's, since we do know there's a deficit coming, are we doing anything to find funds to supplement that? Or are you just explaining that that's how that works? Sorry.
I'm going to pass that to Dr. Quintana on that.
That is correct. So this is a funding coming from a Proposition 301. So it's all tied into sales taxes.
Right.
And so this is the allocation plan that the group and the teachers make to how they can use this funding every year. So they basically look at the historical revenues coming in every year and make an assessment and plan to how they can distribute that throughout, the following year. So basically, once it runs out, there's no additional funding. They just have to budget correctly and properly so that they don't overspend. And also, leave some room for next year to, have similar allocations, the following year. But basically, the plan is really just for 301 sales taxes, not in nothing else. So there's no, getting additional funding. It's just specific to that.
Okay. I was just trying to have the mind of a teacher and thinking how that was going to make sense to me.
Yeah, if I can just add a little bit to the part of the reason why we're trying to use a little bit more funding this year and where we're kind of projecting, be conservative for the future years, but also we want to be able to somehow soften the blow a little bit in the fact that with the TIP funding going away, and obviously teachers, some teachers getting a substantial cut, we're trying to soften the blow a little bit this year if we can to provide additional 301 funding for teachers, but also be respectful of the fact that we want to continue this going forward. And so like Mr. Olmsted said, we'll adjust every year to see how much revenue is coming in. But that's one of the reasons why the plan included additional funding for the PVC and the retention to soften the blow a little bit for individuals that are taking a big cut from TIP 4 plan.
And we can adjust the dollar amount for highly effective and developing. We can change that as well. Like when it was at 1660, and I know we questioned, that's kind of an odd number, 1660, and then 1320 for effective. So we can adjust that as well and go from 1660 to 1500 if we need to. So we can adjust some of these stipends down if the money's not there. Then we're going to take what we have and figure out our formulas on how we can distribute that evenly and fairly.
May I offer another explanation? If you notice the carry forward, that's part of the Prop 301 committee recognizing that they wanted to have a large savings bank, if you will, so that when they were able to each year come in, they had a large pot of money to draw from. So it's just like when we put money into our savings accounts, it's there for that moment when we need it. This year, we needed to draw more out of that savings account because of the TIF 4 loss. The committee really wanted to make sure that they were able to soften that blow. At the same time, they don't want to completely exhaust that savings account. So you notice when you come down to 22, 23, there's still a predicted carry forward amount that the committee is planning to take forward into subsequent years.
Why? So then what's the previous model or last year's model of Prop 301 monies, or maybe even before the pandemic? Was it just paying into individualized performance-based pay for teachers?
Are you talking about out of the carry forward that we had?
Just Prop 301 in general, because this is a new model, right, that we're going with for that they're
We added
recommending?
some components, yes.
Yeah, so then if we eliminate the school performance-based pay, what does that model look like? Or,
Then that money would go from a school-based to the individual.
so then there would be more money for the individual to get that?
Yeah, the individual would go up. I think the first year it's 500 for the school. But what we were trying to do was we were trying to make sure that it was a community, that it's not just, well, these are my kids in my class and that's it, and I don't care about the other ones. It was, yeah, these are mine, but I might see these in a walk to read group, or I might have these in a tutoring group. or the music teacher might be able to teach them something in music. And so it was more of a community of, it takes a village to raise our school's score. So that was the purpose behind it. But I do understand your apprehension of, what if I'm doing my job, but he's not doing as good a
Right.
job in his classroom, and mine is based on our score now. So that
Well-
was why we started low, to try to see how this would go the first year.
Okay, well, it's not that, it's just that, again, there's individuals at schools that, whether they've had a history of having a lower grade labeled to their school, then that's gonna continue, and so they're gonna continue to be hampered by that. And then now we're coupling that with the school performance-based pay, and so now they're being double, I feel like they're being double sided with like another hindrance to accessing this money that should be going to them.
Right, so for this slide, this was for the school letter grade. That was one thing that the committee debated, was how much do we want? And this is about maybe, I think it's 10%. So we did kind of a 90-10 split for this model. And then depending on how it works, we are going to evaluate this and see, is it effective? We're going to talk to the staff. What do you guys think of it? We're going to ask you, we're going to present to you what the staff, what their feelings are on that.
Okay.
Because we need to make sure that our staff is involved every step of the way. And that's why we lean on those teachers. And I know Miss Fredericks was on here at one time. Erin, do you have anything to add?
Hi, yes, I'm here. No, I don't have much else to add that you haven't already explained. I think that, we came into this starting really slowly, and we'll see how we can build this model out in the future. But really, this is looking at almost like a trial run for next year to see how it goes.
Thank you. I didn't realize that Erin, our representing PECTA, was here. But if this is a model too that PECTA, or representatives from PECTA endorse, then that eases some of my comfort. Just being transparent, I'm not holding my breath for a model like this to turn out to solve a lot of problems, but I hope to be proven wrong. But again, we'll stay updated. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. We'll keep you updated.
Last question. I'm just wondering, as far as the TIF supplement coming out, is this one-time payment coming out of M&O, is that the normal place that salaries come out of anyway? Is that why we're using those reserves?
Yes, most of the funding for all staff, it comes out of M&O, yes.
Just making sure.
Mhm.
All right, any other discussion? Do we have a motion to approve the performance pay Prop 301 plan as presented?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Alicia Fink, I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Miriam, may we please have a roll call vote?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Nay.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. With that, the motion passes. Thank you, everyone who participated on that committee. I'm sure taking those, additional hours out of your time to make sure our teachers are taken care of is not always the most appreciated. So thank you all for doing that. We'll move on to item G2 and hear about our request for proposals for community education enrichment classes.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. That's exactly what this is. It's a request for also to explain the process that they follow to procure this. And Dr. Gonzalez, Monique was going to begin, or yeah, okay. Monique Harris, our procurement manager, is going to begin the presentation.
Good evening, Ms. Bonner.
Good evening.
welcome.
Nice to see you all again. So I am going to be presenting on the community education enrichment classes. Can I have the clicker? Thank you. Thank you, Linda. So this is an RFP that we conducted to fulfill after-school program needs. So you've seen this before, and I like to be consistent when I'm talking about procurement so that you can always follow the process. So we started off with project planning in January 2022. And in that process, that's when we identified the requirements. We identified the scope, the timeline, the stakeholders, and also the scoring criteria. Then we went on to draft the RFP that happened in February and March of this year. We again composed and finalized the timeline, the contract terms and conditions, and then finalized the scope of work. I issued the RFP in March. It was issued to 62 vendors on March 18th. I answered their questions. We also had a pre-proposal conference where they could meet the team and ask questions about the scope of work. We received 17 acceptable submissions on April 4th. And then we moved into the evaluation phase. So with the evaluation phase, it's based on those criteria that we determined in our drafting. So the vendors were quite aware of how we were going to evaluate them. And also in accordance with the Arizona Administrative Code, R72-1050, we evaluated and made recommendations based on who we felt was the most responsible offers and who we thought would be the most advantageous to the district. And then that leads us to tonight, where we're asking the governing board to approve the recommendation. So our evaluation committee consisted of Sherry Zeeb, who is the Director of Federal Programs, and Sarah Sims, who is the Special Population Coordinator, and myself, the Procurement and Material Manager. A few of the criteria that we evaluated was, of course, cost. Being that this was a federal procurement, it is required that cost be the very first criteria. We also evaluated facilities use agreements, the detailed program plan, uniquely qualified vendor descriptions, behavior management, addressing individual student needs, and also the district partnership description, knowledge, qualification, experience, and of course, the ability for these vendors to meet the timelines and the time frame for the services. Now, I felt this was very important to talk about tonight because being that this is a federal RFP and it's federally funded, you have to always remember that there's two sets of procurement codes that I have to know. When I'm doing something that's state funded, I have to know state procurement, but anytime that we're doing federal funded programs or any type of federally funded services, I have to adhere to federal procurement. And this is one of the things in our federal procurement law that requires us to make sure that I am taking all necessary affirmative steps to ensure that minority businesses, with women businesses, and labor surplus areas, if we were in that type of classification, were being involved in this process, that they were identified and they had an opportunity to participate. I think I talked about this in our last time that I presented on the insurance, how we are using a new platform for OpenGov. And I love this about this platform because it captures this data. I have to prove to auditors that I made affirmative steps. This helps me capture that information so that I can show to an auditor, yes, the vendors that participated, these are the classifications, and this is the percentage of the total vendors. So the programs that we awarded, we're asking and recommending to award 7 vendors. So I wanted to just give you just something special about each one of these. So as you know, this is going to be paid by the district. It's free for all of our students. The first vendor that we're recommending is the Valley of the Sun YMCA. I wanted to make mention of the fact that they use the Sanford Harmony program. The second vendor is G Road, who has a mentoring program. Stix has a STEM program that offers innovative impactful, and hands-on components. We've already been using Boys Girls Clubs this current year, and we'll continue using them under this contract. But they have 2 branch locations that's within our district boundaries. And also they have the school childcare that we want to make sure that we're providing for families that's offsite. Challenge Island Phoenix is a target social, emotional, and intellectual needs for our students. We have a chess club, so this is going to be fun. It's different, Magnus Chess Academy. The idea of awarding them was because of the fact that they teach our students strategic skills. They teach them problem solving, and also self-discipline. And then the 7th vendor that we're asking and recommending is GenTech. GenTech is a program that's going to offer our students the abilities to learn about coding and also about robotics and computer building. Some additional information that I wanted to make sure that I made you aware of in the RFP process was that when we were considering the most advantageous vendor, we were looking at who would be beneficial and who would serve as an extension of the school year. As I mentioned, Sherry Zeeb, who is here tonight, she was the writer of the federal grant, and she also understands the special economic and literacy needs of our students. So it was important that she was on the evaluation team. She knows the historical disadvantaged students in our group, and she also can identify the students that are not exceeding academically. Sarah, she also understands our student population, the homeless student population, the Title I learners, the refugee population. And I definitely wanted to make sure that I mentioned about Sarah, that she served on the PESD equity team. So she definitely understands how to use that equity lens when she's looking at our student population. When we were reviewing these vendors, we also paid attention to their ability to perform trauma-informed practices and their ability to provide social emotional learning support. Other considerations were if they were on-site or off-site. And this week I've been talking to different principals, and one of the principals asked me about transportation, and I was letting them know that we were going to talk about that tonight. So transportation was written in this grant. So the federal programs team, in conjunction with the school principals, they'll work with our transportation department to facilitate the needs of the students that will be transported to these off-site programs. Anything that's related to the project itself really would go through our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Gonzalez here. She is really the grant and the project planning manager of this, while I just did the procurement to source this for the school district. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the multi-year process. So this is a multi-year contract. So this contract is going to be for 5 years. The R7-21093 of the Arizona Administrative Code allowed me to do this multi-term contract. Anytime that you're doing a multi-term contract, you are required to have governing board approval prior to even soliciting this, which I did. I brought this to the governing board on March 10th, and you guys did approve for the multi-term contract to be used. Just because it's a multi-term contract, though, doesn't mean that we automatically have to use it every year. There are still steps that have to be taken. So we will, every year before renewing this, we have to evaluate the performance. We have to evaluate the costs. We have to evaluate the services that are being provided by these recommended vendors before we determine to extend their contract for another year. And we're anticipating spending about $125,000 a year for the next 5 years on this contract. And the multiple award contract is also something I wanted to talk about, because typically when we bring a contract to the board, we're awarding one vendor. We're asking for you to award 7. And the law also allows us to do that. So the Arizona Administrative Code, our 71050C, allows us to award a multiple award if we determine the need is there, that one vendor cannot facilitate all of these different programs. And as you can see, there's a vast variety of vendors. So it's not the expectation that one vendor can provide all of that. So it's reasonable for us to determine that we have a multiple award to cover the needs that we have for our students. So I stated that these are our 7 vendors: Valley of the Sun YMCA, G Road Sticks, Boys and Girls Club of the Valley Incorporated, Challenge Island Phoenix, Magnus Chess Academy, and Gen Tech. So we're asking the board to recommend these 7 vendors be awarded. So I'm opening the floor for any questions.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Harris, for the thorough presentation. And I just had one question about the location of the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes. So there's 2 district sites for Boys and Girls Club, and actually Sarah can speak on those 2 branch locations.
There's 2 sites, the Gable Boys and Girls Club and IG Homes. So 15th Street and I'm sorry. 2 locations, IG Homes at 16th Avenue in Sherman and 15th Street in Brill, which is the Gable Boys and Girls branch. We're currently using both of those right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for this presentation. You really provided a transparent process to our procurement process. So I understand more about why we go with who we go with in terms of the evaluation transparency. And I'm especially excited for the Gen Tech partnership and collaboration. We're in a school district, we are a school district that's within a high school district that has a strong tech focus, especially when it comes to coding. And I'm proud that we are starting the initiatives like this so that our students can be prepared. We just honored a student from Kenilworth who is going to a coding academy, and that is amazing. That just speaks to the excellence of the STEM programs we offer. And I know that we can increase those numbers in terms of the students that are capable of those opportunities by offering programs at an earlier level. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you for sharing that. That is something that I want people to understand about procurement. When federal programs brought this idea to me, I was happy to have this idea because I want you to tell me your challenges and the programs and services that you're seeking, because that is part of my function in procurement, is to help source and meet your needs. So the fact that they were asking for something that was a little bit bigger than what they've had in the past, that's how we served in procurement. We, like he said, there's a student who's actually benefiting from that now. Just think of how many more students that'll benefit from this multi-awarded contract. So thank you for sharing that. And then thank you again to federal programs for reaching out and saying, this is what we want to bring to the school district. And then me connecting that and making sure we do it in a compliant way.
I'd like to ask Dr. Gonzalez to give us some closing remarks on this process. We had a good conversation while prepping the agenda this week, and it was a really pleasant time. So if you don't mind, Dr. Gonzalez.
I do not mind. Thank you, President Trujillo. Thank you to Monique, to Sherry, and to Sarah. They did a phenomenal job in pulling all of this together, and we had over 17 companies that put forward a proposal, and you have that in your board docs to be able to see who all the companies were. But one of the statements, and I shared this in our board docs, but one of the statements that was made at the community forum, one of the people, and happens to be somebody that was selected, but we didn't know that at the time, obviously. She mentioned the fact that she had just prepared over 11 RFPs across the valley to offer her program to schools. And she said this was the one district of everyone that she had been through that really had a focus on students and taking care of students' well-being. And that as she read through the RFP, she was very, very excited about working with us because we had such a strong emphasis on being creative and innovative and meeting the needs of children. Originally, we thought we might only be able to offer an award to maybe 3 or 4. And then as the people were looking through and going through the rubric that was assigned, we really decided the more that we can do to offer for our students, the better. Most of these are going to be on-site programs, which is very exciting for us. That way we don't have to worry about transportation. But in the event we do have to worry about transportation, we have that taken care of. Our goal now, pending approval, is that we'll be able to offer a menu of different opportunities at every school site. And principals will be able to work with their sites to figure out what's best for their programming, for their community needs, and be able to get as many of these offerings at every one of our campuses. So thank you again to the amazing work of our federal programs team and to our procurement office. They really are a very well, high-functioning group, and we're very proud to have everyone here.
Thank you both so very much. With that, do we have a motion to approve the request for proposals for community education enrichment classes?
Alicia Vink, so moved.
Thank you.
Rajiv Carrillo, second.
Thank you both. Any further discussion? Ms. Miriam, will we please have a roll call vote?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Yes.
All right. With that, our motion passes and we can move on. Let's see, move on to item I1, which brings us back to our earlier part of the day. The governing board met earlier to interview candidates. And so this part of our meeting this evening will be to discuss and consider approving the offer for specific candidates to come back. Do we have any discussion or any board member that will start that off for us?
Sure, I would like to motion that we invite to the next interview process, our final interview. And we would like to invite the candidates as follows. We have Dr. E.B. Haragoit, Dr. Erica Avila, and Norma Haragoy. And with that, we would like to direct Arizona School Board Association, Mr. Highland, to make contact with our final candidates.
Thank you very much. Do we have a second?
Rajiv Carrillo, second.
Any discussion?
Just a big thank you to all of the candidates that did interview with us. We really did have a wonderful day being able to spend some time with the candidates and greatly appreciate the work that they put into joining us for their interviews.
Thank you, Dr. Vink. I'd like to echo that as well. With that, may we please have a roll call vote, Ms. Miriam?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. With that, our motion passes. Thank you, thank you. Let's move on to item I2 for board reports and requests.
Yes, I would just like to again extend our gratitude to all the candidates that we had the opportunity to speak to earlier today. And most importantly, I just want to thank our community for entrusting us as a board to make this important decision for our school district. I am looking forward to seeing our community out at our community forum next Wednesday, April 26th at Herrera School of the Arts at 6 p.m. You will have You have the opportunity to get to know the candidates and ask them questions in person or online. So I just want to again reiterate that the community has the opportunity to meet the final candidates. And again, thank you to everyone that has been involved in the process, especially our staff. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Miss Linda, and thank you everybody that has supported us through this process.
I just have one request, and it is for a future study session on our gifted student services.
Any others? All right, we'll move on to item I3 for future agenda items. Hearing none. One point of clarification, I just entered our calendar invite for next Wednesday, and it's the 27th of April. So we look forward to seeing everybody at Herrera to meet up with our candidates. So that public forum starts at 6 p.m. Hearing no future agenda items, do we have a motion to adjourn our meeting this evening?
Jessica Bueno, so moved.
Alicia Vinco, second.
Not hearing any discussion okay. Ms. Mayor, may we please have a roll call to adjourn our meeting this evening?
Carmen Trujillo,
Aye.
Jessica Bueno,
Yes.
Reggie Carrillo,
Yes.
Alicia Vink,
Yes.
Laura Diaz.
Yes.
Thank you. With that, the motion passes and we will adjourn this evening at 7:41.